Affirming black manhood, taking back the power to define, develop, protect and project what it means to be a black man in today's world. On Sunday the 20th of June, we invite you to join the conversations facilitated by our esteemed lineup, engaging us all in addressing various aspects of black manhood from a range of perspectives, featuring Baba Mwalimu Baruti, defining principles of black manhood, Robin Walker, the economics of black manhood, Ifayomi Grant, rebuilding productive African manhood whilst challenging misogyny, Brother Leader Bandaka, black manhood, fatherhood and rites of passage, Baba Buntu, building black brotherhood. This is an online event taking place Sunday, the 20th of June, 2021 from 12 p.m. UK time. For tickets and more information, visit shakaraspeaks.com. International guests, feel free to join us at any time or catch the playback. This is an event for black men by black men, affirming black manhood. My big brother Tugstar is soon to release his next album, Family Ties, where he heavily explores the subject of fatherhood. One of the aspects he delves into is being a father raising a daughter in a misogynistic, patriarchal and sexist world. It's a powerful reflection. I look forward to you all hearing it. Stay tuned. Naturally for me, I have a son, so it put me on a different reflection. I want to raise a son who does not internalize these misogynistic, patriarchal and sexist ideals. I want to raise a son with positive, productive and functional ideas and attitudes towards women. A son who values black women enough to develop a myriad of valuable relationships with the sisters of all generations around him. It occurs to me he is going to be raised in a world where his manhood is under a sophisticated attack. So positive ideals are exceedingly difficult to find and reinforce. He will be raised in a world where black men are widely viewed as a scourge on everyone and everything. We are a danger to white men and women, murderers of each other, and perpetual, irredeemable abusers of black women. He will be raised in a world where a dominant idea is that black men have nothing to offer black women. I have to ask myself whether it's possible to raise a boy into a man capable of having functional relations with black women if he has a dysfunctional idea of his own manhood. My son must have ideals of manhood that not only affirms manhood, but challenges misogynistic patriarchy. This is best transmitted to him via examples, the first of course being my own. But I am aware that his ideals of manhood will not be shaped by me exclusively, but by a collective personality of black manhood he is exposed to. Somehow, I must transmit to him the natural character of black manhood in relation to black womanhood. I must teach him where this changed and how it became destructive. I know I will have to be real with my son one day about the mistakes I have made with women and how I have sought to correct them in the hope that he doesn't repeat them. At the same time, I want him to feel comfortable enough to make his own mistakes without these mistakes being a definitive judgment on the entirety of his manhood. It's another one of them delicate balances. This will be an ongoing conversation. Alright, so first of all, yeah, I promise you this was not planned, yeah? Obviously, at the moment, I am organising an event called Affirming Black Manhood, yeah? And when I read this particular reflection and realised this was the next one, that I had written down, I thought, right, that's a serious thing. It's a serious confluence of circumstances, yeah? But when I planned this, I just saw it go, and this is how it came together. We give thanks to whatever energies, and ancestral spirit did guide I, to this point. But yes, I am organising an event called Affirming Black Manhood, and so I look forward to seeing all of my brothers there. The link is in the description. Also, we have Step Up in Our Life. Yeah, I've got a Telegram group or channel, as them say, for all those who have, multiple of these communication apps on their phone right about now. WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal. Well, yeah, Telegram look like it has a lot still. So I've got a channel on there. So if you want to see regular updates on these videos and all these things, do check out my Telegram group. You know what I'm saying? And the link is also in the description. So yeah, man, rereading this particular reflection, I was struck here by the idea that raising a boy to be a man is going to be the biggest challenge, of my parenthood. And that sounds kind of really simplistic, right? You think that's just it is, generally speaking, that's the challenge, right? You have to raise them to be adults, right? That's the biggest challenge. But I feel like right now there are some particular challenges where this thing is concerned, that is unique, to this particular time. And that has a lot to do with the overall context here of gender toxicity, that exists particularly in the Black community, that is magnified by the fact that we live in a social media, mass media, information age where everything, can take up center stage and be magnified beyond, its actual real life impact, therefore becoming real, in that magnification. So it's an interesting thing, and I'm really, really, really focused on this idea of the fact that we do, I have no problems recognizing the fact that we live in a misogynistic society, but we also live in a society that has been built around a systematic attack against Black manhood. I've never been one of those people that believe that only African women or Black women are attacked on the basis of gender. It doesn't make any sense to me. So we have to realize that and recognize that as Black men, especially in terms of how we raise our children. I think to a significant degree, for a generation maybe, all right, but a lot of the time when we talk about these male-female dynamics the focus, in my experience, has often been changing the way boys or men think about women, We have to change how we look at and think about and conceptualize and relate to women, And I'm convinced now more than ever that that's actually the wrong emphasis, that how men relate to women is based upon our own concept of our own manhood. So really and truly, if you want to change how men relate to women, we have to change our concept of ourselves. We have to change how we think about ourselves as men, because our behavior is a function of our values, and our self-image, right? In order to treat a woman in a particular way, it requires me to have a concept of myself that produces that kind of behavior. If I want to objectify a woman, it kind of requires me to treat myself as an object first, right? To objectify myself first in order to fulfill, my concept of the objectified woman, right? In order to relate to her in that kind of way. So we need to look at our own manhood, and that's difficult in a world whereby the solution to misogyny, misogynistic patriarchy, seems to be promoted as the dismantling of manhood, the negation of manhood, the rejection of manhood, and the emasculation of manhood, rather than the affirmation of manhood, affirming Black manhood, all right? And especially in relation to African men who have had a systematic destruction of our manhood, that this idea is entirely destructive, it not gonna work, as far as I'm concerned, family. And I don't think you can raise functioning boys to become men, by destroying and negating and pathologizing the concept of manhood, This is self-destructive and ultimately self-defeating. So all of this requires us, to be able to impart to boys what it means to be a man and to exemplify it, all right? And it feels like increasingly in this day and age, manhood is on a spectrum, and Black manhood in particular is on a spectrum. On the one end of the spectrum, you've got the alpha male, all right, which is supposed to be, the archetype of the man that you're supposed to desire to be, and then on the other hand, you've got the simp, who really comes about, according to some, ideas, as a rejection of this domineering concept of man, and all he wants to do is whatever women want him to do, all right? Which, again, this is a deficient concept of manhood, So it's a spectrum. Alpha male, simp, and the problem with this spectrum is that there's nothing in it that relates to complementarity, relationship, um, character building, self-development. It's all about dominance and power dynamics, yeah? On the one hand, you are the dominant one. You dominate others, and on the other hand, you are the dominated, yeah? Dominated by these women whose will you are, you know what I'm saying, duty bound to fulfill no matter what the case, whether it's principled, right, wrong, or whatever. As long as the women want it, yeah, you have to do it. And neither of these create functional manhood, yeah? And it's like we're being indoctrinated to thinking that you're either one or the other. All right. So, and this is deficient because manhood is a function. Yeah, it's supposed to be a function within your family and within your community. Therefore, it's relational. And so, your capacity to be a man, yeah, is dependent upon the relationships with the people that are around you. And you can't develop functional relationships if power dynamics and dominance is your constant preoccupation 24/7. And so it requires us to be able to be multidimensional in terms of how we relate to women. In the sense of the fact that, for example, when I was a child, like a small child, yeah, let's say 6'10", yeah, it's between 6 and 10. My dad would actively encourage man, yeah, to form friendships with girls. And this is because, you know, a lot of boys go through this phase whereby they're very anti-girl, yeah, like they you know, and that we are boys, we run things sensibility, yeah, can develop very, very young. And so he, and that oftentimes translates into a rejection of female friends. Yeah, it can do that anyway, all right? And so he encouraged us to form friendships, yeah, with girls from a very young age. And, you know, then you get to 13, and then I'm telling you, if you leave the woman, them girl pick me alone, yeah? It's a different context, I will know what comes with that. But the point is that by the time I've got to that point, yeah, I've gotten used to seeing girls as friends, yeah? And so I feel like part of it is developing in boys or ourselves as men multidimensional ways in which we relate to women, yeah? And I don't mean like every other woman is up for the taking apart from the women that are personally close to me, you know, my mama, my sister, them and them kind of things there. That we're multidimensional, yeah, in terms of how we relate to women, our peers, our elder women that are in our families and our community, and the younger women, right? That we've got responsibility, yeah, to develop relationship with all of these different expressions of womanhood in our environment. But that begins with our concept of ourselves as men and our relationships with men, because our manhood is developed in community. I never got everything in terms of what it means to be a man from one individual, my father. It's impossible. Yeah. So I don't expect to be my son's everything in terms of what he produces or becomes as a man. So we have to develop these things in as men in community. Yeah. And that is the path that man really wants to go, that man's really on. It's part of the reason we're having this event, affirming black manhood. So yeah, like I said, this is going to be a unique challenge, yeah, trying to achieve this functional manhood, yeah, in an African boy in today's world. But man, I gear up for meet the challenge, yeah, and I'm very interested to hear the thoughts and the opinions and the perspective of other men on this specific issue. If you're conscious of not raising boys who perpetuate the same destructive behavior, particularly as it relates to our relationship with the women in our community. And it's difficult because we are men, yeah, and we're human beings, and we will make mistakes. But when we live in a world whereby our mistakes as men are put in the context of this eternal pathology of the black man, it can be a lot to deal with. Yeah, we must have the space to be able to make mistakes and correct ourselves, because that's just a part of the human condition. And so I don't want to put a heavy load on my son, but this is the context, sorry, not character, the context that he's been born into. It's neither of our fault. We just have to meet the challenges of them now. One of the things that I was conscious of in looking at this particular reflection is that at this time when I was writing them, they seem to be getting longer. Yeah, the reflections seem to have been getting longer. But I don't have much more to say, family. Yeah, but no doubt, we'll come back to this subject in the future. So we'll leave it here. Thank you for watching. I'm saying, like, subscribe, comment, and all these things. Check out the Telegram, and I look forward to seeing the man them at Affirming Black Manhood. Peace, blessings, ashe, ashe, ashe.